Thanks so much for having me, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. So I am from Australia originally, but I live in Chicago now, where I'm with G2 as their CMO. G2 is formerly known as G2 Crowd, if you're not familiar with that. We just did that rebrand really recently. So I've got tons of content to take you through, and I'm actually going to kind of disagree with some of the things that Neil just said there, because I personally believe that actually you should focus on traffic before you focus on conversions, because to me, conversion rate optimization is just kind of like squishing a lemon. Once you've squished it so much, like you can't get any more out of it. And I think most people's problem isn't actually conversion rate optimization. It's like, how do I grow more and more and more at the top of the funnel? That's like the hard part in my mind. So I want to talk to you a little bit more about that. So, I don't know what you said, person in the background. Okay, so first things first, I'm really social, and I would love to connect with all of you, whether that's on LinkedIn or Instagram or Twitter or any other platform. Just no dick pics, please. Please don't slide into my DMs. So you can follow me at Ryan Bonnici. I'm going to share all my slides as well via my Twitter after this, so if you follow me, we can get amongst it. But I know you guys have listened to a lot of content, so before we even get started, I just want everyone to stand up, please, for a second. I'm just going to do 5 very simple squats. And if you squat correctly, as like my old PT used to say, back has to be straight and like butt out. And I'm going to make it touch the seat behind me here. And you guys all need to try and make your butts touch the seat behind you, okay? So let's do it. 1, beautiful. 2, very nice. 3, and 4, and last one, 5. Beautiful. Okay, cool. We're moving, we're feeling good. Okay, so my mission today in the next 40 minutes or so is to help you increase your probability of breakthrough marketing success. And so there's 5 kind of big hacks that I've learned over the last sort of decade that I want to run you all through. So let's kind of jump straight in, I think. So the first hack I want to talk about is content marketing 3.0. And so where most people go wrong is that they don't create content for all stages of the funnel, but most importantly for the very, 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 very top of the funnel. So I'll walk you through. I mean, everyone kind of knows there's 3 stages of like the very simple buyer journey, right? Awareness, consideration, decision. And so I kind of want to use an example of you all. So you can all kind of see, like, I'm wearing glasses right now. I am like almost blind. I'm like -10. If anyone here wears contacts or glasses, you'll know like, fuck, he is blind. So for me, when I go to buy glasses, I don't need to learn that I can't see. Like I wake up every morning and I'm very well aware. So I might search on Google, slick new glasses for men, or what glasses will make me look smart when I'm presenting, or etc. And then I might come to a blog post that says, here are some glasses trends in 2019. And then I might buy them, right? Like it's a very simple process for me because like I'm well down the funnel. I'm just a repurchase kind of consumer. But what if I didn't know I needed glasses, yeah? And in this instance, awareness content wouldn't work because I'm not aware of the glasses problem. And this is kind of the biggest problem that I see most businesses make, is that they kind of create content that's far, far, far too close to their business, their product, and their service. And I understand why they do that, because it's kind of hard if you don't really understand this to justify creating content really kind of far outside the scope of what it is that your product and service sells. But I'll show you how you can do that really, really well. So you need outside of the funnel, so UFU content. So in this kind of case, if I needed glasses, but I didn't know that I needed glasses, I might go to Google and search, why do I keep getting headaches at work? Or avoid headaches at work, or like eye strain at work. And then if Mr. Specs was doing a good job, they'd have a blog post that says how to avoid computer eye strain. They'd say there's several factors that increase the likelihood of eye strain. You need to like go for a walk every 20 minutes. You need to make sure you're blinking, drink water. And P.S., did you have your eyes checked recently? And then they might, do a little kind of thing where they say get like a meter away from your computer and do some checking, and then they'd schedule a meeting. Now these are like very accelerated examples, right, of taking someone from like outside of the funnel to the bottom of your funnel. But what you'll find, and I'll show you shortly, is that there's so much more volume in the top of the funnel. And while the conversion rate of top of funnel traffic is going to be lower always, you can get so much more of it that even though there is a lower conversion rate, you can make so much more revenue at the bottom of the funnel. Now, the next kind of thing I want to touch on, which is like content marketing 3.0, is just another area where I see so many marketers go wrong, is that they're measuring the channels of their marketing. And when I say channels, I mean email marketing, social media marketing, blogging. They're thinking of these things as kind of pods that are unique in their own way. But the best marketers out there that I know, and there really aren't that many of them, and this is why so many people do content marketing wrong, is that top marketers measure content, and they measure content at a topic level. So let me walk you through an example of what I mean by this. So when I was at HubSpot a few years ago, we were reaching a point in our growth where we were driving 6 to 8 million visitors every month to our blog. We'd created tons and tons of content, but leads had sort of flatlined, traffic had flatlined, it wasn't growing at the rate it had been. And so what I kind of realized was that I'm pretty sure there's like topics that we're creating content about whereby we've reached kind of the max of traffic for those contents. We might be in the first position for all of those things. But what about those topics that are out there? So I kind of want to walk you through step by step what I did, because it took me a few months to do given how complex data was at HubSpot. But step one is essentially you want to export all of your data, your page data from GA or whatever platform it is that you're using for your web analytics. And then what you then kind of want to do is, so you're exporting it basically all at like a page level. It could be at a URL level, whatever you want. And then you're grouping that data by, okay, how many organic visitors came through that traffic on each of those blog posts per month? How many then leads came from that organic traffic? And then how many customers came from those organic leads? So you're kind of creating this organic funnel of, monthly how many traffic visitors am I receiving per page, to then leads from that organic visitors, to then customers, okay? Now, once you've done that, that's kind of like the easy part. Then what you want to do is create kind of like you're sorting your data, so working out, okay, if I generated, 4,800 leads and then 7,200 ops, it has a lead to operate at 15%. You're kind of building out your ratios, which is kind of easy, just simple calculations. The hard and time-consuming part is then you want to add content topics, okay? So you can see that, these two. So what's a good example? So step-by-step guide to internet marketing has been tagged with internet marketing. There's nothing else here with internet marketing, but basically you can see that I've gone down and basically said, okay, this is about SEO, this blog post is about Pinterest, this is about buyer personas, this is about social media. I did that for literally like the top maybe 1,000 pages. And then once you've done that, you then want to kind of create this analysis tab that says, okay, so it's basically doing like a VLOOKUP or a sum if or an average if. So it's saying every URL with a PowerPoint topic, let's pull the annual leads, the ops, etc. And so now what you've got is you can start to say, okay, so I know for topic X, this is how many visitors it's driving per month. And this is how many leads it's driving per month from those visitors. And then this is how many customers it's driving from there. So you can actually start to get a much better idea of which topics are working well for you. So you can see in this case here, topics that we weren't really creating a whole lot of content for but had done really well were PowerPoint, infographics, social media, Facebook, landing pages, like topics about those things. Yet we were creating a ton of content around marketing automation and email marketing and things that were tried and tested but we weren't driving the same results. So if you do this for your own content, it can be such an amazing way for you to learn so much more about what you're doing and actually start to pull some really smart insights. But if you want to then take it a little further once you've done that, and I would only say take it further with these bits of examples if you kind of are already driving a lot of traffic and you've kind of reached a plateau. So you want to then take all of that work that you've done and then per those keywords, those topics, we had a social media topic, a blogging topic, etc. You want to then do keyword research and work out, okay, for my high-level topic of blog, what are the different top keywords for it? How to blog, business blogging, blog, marketing, blog. For case study is a content topic that we have lots of blog posts. Here are some of the big words. So then what I basically am doing here is saying, okay, in the same kind of VLOOKUP way, I'm saying for each topic, there is within the top kind of keywords, maybe 100,000 searches every month. And if I'm generating 30,000 visitors from that 100,000 searches, then I've probably maxed it out, right? Because I probably can't get more than 30% of the total search volume because of just click-through rates. So then you can start to basically work out, like, where have I reached a peak? and where is there like massive future potential. So you can see in this example here, the topic of Google, so Google marketing, how to set up a Google for Business page, we weren't generating many ops from it. 1 customer a month. But look at the search volume. There's 1.6 million searches around those topics. And then, you could then kind of map out what that would be for us. So, there's an additional 100,000 more visitors that I could be getting to the site every month just from creating some blog posts around that topic. So that's sort of how you take content marketing to the next level if you're interested in doing that. Make sense? Everyone on board? I know that's kind of like pretty in-depth, but I wanted to kind of spend some time there. Now, the second marketing hack is more so aligned to B2B businesses and B2C companies, but those that work with a sales team in some capacity. Because I find that so many organizations that work with sales don't do a good rate, right? If you do a good rate at kind of combining your forces, you can grow your business so much faster. So companies that aren't doing this right are seeing a 4% decline. So we know it's bad, and we always want to be friendly with sales, right? So I kind of want to really quickly show you how do we take our relationship from Tay-Tay and Kanye back in the MTV Awards where, really not a good state for their relationship, to just a few years ago where they were buddies. They're not really happy anymore since the Reputation tour and stuff, but we'll get them back there again, okay? So sales and marketing alignment is smarketing. And I kind of want to run you through then the process for how to be a smarketer. So there's 3 steps. You need to have a really strong common language between yourself and sales. You need to set up a really, smart and simple and optimized process. You need to utilize a bunch of different tools. So first up is, just the most simplest thing is what actually constitutes a marketing qualified lead for you. And I'm a big fan of MQLs. How many people here work in like the B2B space? So they work with the sales team. They're like about half of the room. So too many B2B marketers I find will mark an MQL as just a standard lead, someone that's downloaded an ebook around something in maybe relation to your business. And I think if you're doing that, you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot because over time, sales is going to realize these leads that you're generating aren't actually wanting to speak to them. So I always try and think about MQLs as like there has to be a really explicit hand raise whereby the person is aware that they're going to be speaking to a salesperson. Now that can be because you're giving them a free piece of kind of high value content. So as an example, at the end of this, anyone in the room that's a SaaS marketer, I'm going to offer you a link that you can go to download 30 days worth of buyer intent data from g2.com to see who is actively looking to shop in the category of software that you might sell. Now that's something whereby like if you're putting your hand up to do that, you kind of are aware that if we're going to show you that data, we're going to ask to chat with you. That's a little bit different to an ebook. So with MQLs, I think it's really important that there really needs to be the intent that there is going to be a conversation, just to build that alignment with sales. You then obviously want to define your life cycle stages, and I don't want to spend too much time here because I think they're going to be different for every business, but too many B2B marketers don't actually build out those alignments. And then once you've done that, right, you need to set up an SLA. And what I mean by SLA is, typically for marketing, that's, the number of MQLs or the number of opportunities or a percentage of sales pipeline that you will drive. But where we always forget is like we need to actually set some SLAs on sales for how quickly they will work those leads, what happens if they don't work those leads. So at G2, if a sales rep doesn't work their MQLs within 24 hours, they rotate out of their name and into another AE or a BDR's name. This kind of creates that incentivization for them to move really quickly. And once we create that alignment, obviously, then that helps get things working. So there's a few different steps to building this marketing alignment, right? And I'm going to go through these really quickly because they're very basic, but a lot of the time I think marketers and growth professionals don't just stop and think about the metrics a little bit more. They just think, oh, I need to hit 50%, okay, I'm going to drive lots of leads. So we need to determine business growth, calculate the marketing side, calculate the sales side, set up our SLA reporting, and then set up our sales reporting. So what I mean by determining business growth, it's literally just, what is it that the board or our company is setting as our revenue goal? What is our ASP? And like really simply, how many customers do we need to close in the next month or quarter or year? So from there, we want to just work out the marketing side, right, at the most simplest level. So what is our lead or our MQL to close rate? And then let's work backwards and work out how many MQLs or leads we need to generate to get to that number. And so, really simply, right, if we have 20,000 visitors every month and then we see 6,000 net new blog subscribers or just content downloads, we might have a 30% conversion rate. And then if we see from that 6,000 subscribers, 2,400 leads, we know what our subscriber to lead rate is. And then if we see that 1,800 MQLs, we know that lead to MQL rate. But most importantly, right, we want to get down to this end phase of how many customers can I generate for the visitors that I'm seeing. So now I kind of know quite simply, if I can drive an additional 20,000 visitors of identical quality traffic, right, based on the same things, I should be able to predict a roughly double number of customers for for sales on the other end of this. And too often I just see marketers not doing this, and it's just such a loss. I think it's also really important for marketing to work out some of the sales metrics too for sales, because I think we don't realize, but sales has a whole lot more pressure on their back than we do. I know that's kind of controversial to say, but it's kind of true. Like, we won't get fired if we miss a lead goal, for a month or two, or if the branding isn't perfectly. Sales will if they don't hit their targets. So I think we need to try and help them and realize that if they're not working our lead or our MQL, it's because we haven't set up the right environment for them to work it. And then obviously you want to report on the marketing SLA, right? And show the contribution that you're reporting into sales. And then show the work rates as well to see that, our work rate timeline's going down, which is what you would want to see. So that's marketing alignment. Now I want to talk really quickly about how you can enhance the voice of your customer to grow your business faster. So 90% of business buyers are doing their own research online, right? We all know that. We all know they're becoming really educated before they buy. But it's crazy in that, B2B buyers aren't doing enough of creating and seeking this content online for their prospects. So, if I wonder how it happened and how we came to this point where people don't trust company websites, it's kind of simple, right? I think, marketers and sales reps have been naughty for a really long time. We've been selling vaporware, we've been selling products that don't really do what they're necessarily meant to do. And I guess we were really lucky at G2 in that, we kind of rode that wave of lack of consumer trust, and we have been able to build a massive business out of it, whereby we're helping 23 million buyers every year find the right software and services for their company. But I kind of want to help you all think about how you can leverage reviews, and it doesn't cost you anything to start to tell your customers and your future customers why they should be buying, why they should be champions. So there's a few tips I want to run through. And the first is, you just need to be building really authentic and transparent sales and marketing processes. And I think, we touched on HubSpot a little earlier. HubSpot do a really good job at providing really transparent pricing on their website, whereby you can select the features that you want, the features that you don't want. And I think the reason why I'm sharing this with you all is that as marketers, as marketing leaders, as growth leaders, we need to be having a seat at the table around product design, around packaging, and around pricing. And if your company isn't used to having you sit at that part of the table and give input there, I would say that you need to be doing some research and showing them why you should be there, because more and more companies are getting down this transparent path whereby you can buy really quickly with a credit card online, and it's really hard to do that if you're not transparent. Similarly, transparent packaging, right? I love what RxBar does with this. They've totally kind of disrupted that market because they realized that there was so much filler in other products. So the second tip is responding to reviews. I think a lot of folks get kind of afraid when they might get a positive or a negative review. But your buyers and your future buyers are going to different sites like G2, and they're going to read all of these things. So if you're ignoring it and you're putting your head in the sand thinking that it's going to go away, it's not. So listen, respond, and get back to them. And I feel like you need to embrace negative reviews as well. When was the last time you bought a product off Amazon if it had 10 5-star reviews? Almost never. No one trusts 5-star reviews. No product is perfect for everyone. Getting a few negative reviews, or a lot, isn't a bad thing if you have a shit ton more positive ones. And so, you can use that as a learning experience. And I find really, really great companies, the fastest growing companies, especially in tech, whether that's Salesforce or Microsoft or HubSpot, their CEOs and their CMOs obsess over the reviews that they're getting about their product. And they're constantly forwarding those reviews to their product team to make their products better. Again, that's something that we as marketers and as growth folks can do differently. And we can really drive influence in that part of the business. So take me up on that offer, do it. And then lastly, it's proactively asking for reviews, right? We see so many companies that come to us that they're like, oh my gosh, we need reviews now because our competitor has so many more than us. What do we do? And it's like, well, you need to ask for reviews, right? You need to build up your processes. So if you have a software application, when someone does something within the app, like if it's an email marketing tool you sell as an example, you need to identify what are those amazing delight moments in the life cycle. And typically for email as an example, it's when you send your first email campaign, after that's done, wow, that's an amazing feeling. That is a perfect moment in the product life cycle to ask the person to review your product on a site. So I think we need to think a bit smarter about how we're asking for reviews and how we're getting that. And then naturally, once you've got them, you need to start using them within your sales process, on your website, in your ads. These things are truthful, they're authentic, and buyers can really, really read that and see that. And I'll click through this. G2 is just the biggest site, basically, is all I want to communicate there in the space. So marketing hack number 4 is building your personal brand. And I find there's not enough marketers that do this. Neil's done a really good job at this. But I feel like a lot of us kind of think it's a scary / dirty thing to do to create a personal brand. And I kind of want to try and convince you in the next few minutes that it's not actually, because I think that building a really strong personal brand can actually help you build and accelerate your work brand. So I want to kind of walk you through the process that I use to develop a strong personal brand. So the basics are that firstly, you need to have a unique point of view. So if you're sitting there and you're thinking, I want to build a personal brand, and you don't have anything unique to say, then you're never going to be able to do it, unfortunately. Unless you're maybe really hot, but that's probably a different kind of brand that you maybe don't want to create. But, no disregard, that's, each to their own. You need to have a unique point of view, and I think the thing is that all of us have a unique point of view about something. So this, I have a pretty big team at G2 now, around 75 marketers. And one of my senior leaders was asking me the other day, I want to start creating content. What should I write about? And it was kind of really easy for me to realize, because I was like, dude, you are amazing at these 5 things. Think about a unique spin about this that you can drive that no one else knows. So he works with our BDR team and with our demand gen team. And so he has some really unique skill sets around how to drive demand that are different in terms of what we are doing. So I was like, you need to kind of be a bit controversial, say that maybe cold calling is dead and here's what's new. Or you need to kind of have that unique view, but you need to wrap it properly. You also need to be able to connect with people and be willing to be public on social, which I think for some of us, it's a scary thing to do. How many people here have a private Instagram account? Well, more than I was expecting, actually. Keep your hands raised, though, if your Twitter is private as well. Okay, a few of you are a bit cautious of the world, but most of you aren't. So if Instagram is just that private account, then that's cool. You don't need to build your brand just on there. The step 1, though, is building your reputation once you've decided that you want to go down this path, right? And I think the easiest way to do that is if you're working for a company, walk up to your content marketing team, or you might even run the content marketing team, but create some content for them, right? People in your sales team, people in your operations team, anyone can create content, and which content marketing team is going to say no to that? There aren't many, because they are all chasing traffic like we're talking about right here. So take some time to create some content for your own company blog, because that will help you start to get at least your thoughts and ideas out there, and at least allow you to start kind of marinating on what your unique view is going to be. The other thing you want to do is link all of your profiles together. So start, from your Twitter, sharing your Instagram handle, your Snap handle, etc., so that your community, once they start following you on one platform, they'll start to connect with you on others. And Gary Vaynerchuk does a really good job, I think, at cross-promoting his platforms. So you want to build your reputation in your own owned properties. The step 2 is in choosing your goal publications, right? So doing some research and maybe searching, for the biggest publications in your space. And once you work those out, then you want to do some simple outreach, right? And so you can see kind of the email here that I use, and I think I've got a bigger version of it that you can all read here. This is legit the template that I used to use when I was trying to get content published. So I'd say, hi, first name, loved your article on, insert name of article, especially your angle, and I'd think about something unique. I want to connect as I'm a guest contributor for here. Put in your company's blog if that's all you've created content for. But if you've created content for other publications, tier 3 or tier 2 or tier 1, mention those obviously. And little asterisk here is that I remember when I was first starting out, I definitely said my company name, and I definitely lied about a second publication. The reality is journalists are really, really busy, and it's really unlikely that they're actually going to Google it and check. That's a little bit naughty, but hey, whatever. So you send them all, and then I think the biggest key is that you actually need to send the article in the blog post. So you need to make it so fucking easy for them to be able to do the job for them, whereby they can see the article, your bio and pick is there, they can take it. Now what you'll find is like you most often won't get a reply back to this, but that's pretty normal because they're really busy, as I mentioned. I always then follow up 2 days later with this email that just says, hey, any update on the below? And then I'll always say, it's totally fine if you don't want to publish, but if not, please let me know by, and I insert a deadline to give them a bit of like a time limit. And then I'll say, because if not, by this date, I'm going to share it with, and then I insert a name of their competitor. Just to add that little bit of extra, like, if it's not you, it's going to be them. It like almost always works, like truly almost always works. And then I guess, big asterisk is that if your content sucks, then it won't work. But assuming you can write, you will be fine. And that's the email again if anyone wants to see that. Again, I'm going to share these slides on my Twitter if anyone wants this in detail. So start small, right? I remember when I was starting in Tier 3, I was doing little things for kind of small publications in Australia, like Ad News and Mumbrella. And then as I got some of those publications, I then reached out to Entrepreneur with the same email that you saw here, linking back to those old ones. And then as I started to get some Tier 2s, I then reached out to like the Telegraph and, referenced these other ones. And it's just like building blocks, right? And all of these little bits of work that you're doing, and then, you need to be adding them to your LinkedIn profile, right? You need to be adding them to your Twitter bio, so you've published on. All of that is building your credibility up more and more. And as I mentioned before, this helps your work brand, right? When you then go to your next company is going to pay you more money. They're going to want you more than the other person because you have access to an audience bigger than other applicants. Like this is the single easiest way that I've like grown in my career really quickly. So it's not a bad thing. And I think the pro tip as well is like do speaking events. Don't be afraid to do small little meetups. Try and get on panels. Let your company know that you're interested in doing that. Because I think that will help you add more add more reputation around what it is that you're talking about. And try and talk about things that no one else is talking about as well. Think about like something really vulnerable that you know something about. So really recently, like I started sharing content with like HBR and the World Economic Forum about like what it was like being bullied when I was a kid and like how I got through that with therapy and how that's helped me be a better boss. Like showing vulnerability in your writing, I think, and in your content is something that most people aren't doing. Most people are just rah-rah, like talking about how awesome they are. So that can be like a nice, quick way to help build your reputation. Now onto our last hack. How are we doing for time? I think we're doing okay. Yeah. No one's like giving me a red flag. So the fifth marketing hack is beating your competitors. And Neil talked a little bit about this at the end. And I just have a few more tactics that I want to kind of layer in terms of what he was saying. So, he talked about BuzzSumo, I think, and how you can search and find, what's trending. I remember I did this for like when Hillary and Trump were kind of in like the election to find out what content they were sharing, what was working. But so obviously BuzzSumo, I'm sure a lot of you are aware, a really good tool to at least get some insight into what your competitors are doing, what's resonating with their audience. But I like to take it a little step further, and most people don't know this, but you can actually, whenever a link is shortened, and like most marketers, most brands, almost everyone today like is using link shorteners, there's an actually really awesome hack that I don't know why, but no one knows this. So I want to show you this now. So what this is called is basically, so you find a little short URL like this one here. So you can see Hillary Clinton's page. She's got hrc.io/2ex. So you find a little short URL that someone's done. And if you go to my Twitter profile and you'll see like where my shortened URLs are, this works for them, works for all of them. Done by Bitly. You paste it in and then you add a little plus to the end of it, as you can see up there in my photo. And this is some really weird kind of like internet law that like if you shorten a link, because the person doesn't know technically where they're going to be taken, that adding the plus kind of creates some degree of security so that someone can check a link and where it redirects to without having to go there. So when you add a little plus, it takes you to this really beautiful analytics page, public, that no one else knows. So you can see like this literal post from Hillary Clinton generated 3,200 clicks, and this is how it kind of like declined over a space of time. And you can do this for your competitors, right? So BuzzSumo helps you see what they're sharing, but is the content that they're sharing resonating with their audience? Is their audience clicking? So like I kind of showed you before with that spreadsheet where you can export traffic and then build leads and customers, you can do that for your competitors too, right? So you can say, what are the different content topics that they are sharing on their Facebook page? How many likes and engagements did they get? The next column can be how many clicks did that get? Then you can start to build a funnel for their content, based on the different topics that they are creating content for, and you can start to work out where maybe you want to create content or maybe where you don't. So that's one little trick. The other thing is using tools like Sniply to steal people's content. And sorry, borrow is maybe a better word than steal. But we all know that it's like hard to create enough content today. And so why I love Sniply, and there's another company called Starterfire, is they allow you to share articles that maybe, if, say you were published in Business Insider or somewhere else, and you want to be able to share that publicly with people, but you don't want necessarily to lose the traffic. So Starterfire and Sniply are really amazing because they allow you to find content that you want to share and then put a CTA over the top of that content. So basically what they're doing, like in layman's terms, is like creating an iframe. So it's almost like they're creating a page and they're putting another page within it so that then they can control a call to action on the page. So if you're a social media manager or you're sharing content in email, you might have an email roundup newsletter where you share cool stuff from around the web. You're crazy if you're not using these kinds of tools to kind of wrap your links, because by wrapping your link with these tools, now when someone clicks them, they can read the content, but you get to control the call to action to bring them back to your website or to convert them into a subscriber or a requested demo. Another one, which is a little bit kind of less relevant today, though, is like using follower wonk and other tools to work out when your social followers are active and online. So this is, I guess, really only relevant if you're scheduling a lot of content and if you're mindful of like, hey, if I only have a few hours in the day to schedule, when do I want to schedule based on when people are online? So follower wonk is a great tool for that. Email Hunter, obviously a really great hack for finding email addresses if you're doing outreach for folks, or even if you're doing influencer outreach to try and generate more influential followers or folks that you can do partnerships with. And I think my last tip is using tools like HeyPress to find the email addresses and different content topics that certain journalists are interested in. And I think alongside this, Haro, Help a Reporter Out, is a great site too, obviously. But HeyPress is excellent in terms of proactively finding folks. So I hope these hacks have been useful. Just to circle back through them, we went through content marketing 3.0, the importance of aligning yourself with your sales team and your business, how you can leverage the voice of your customer to not only increase sales, but also to build happier customers, why it's crucial that you build your personal brand because it will accelerate your business brand, and then a few different tactics that you can use to beat your competitors. So thanks so much for your time. You can download my slides, but this is actually the incorrect link. So don't follow these steps. Let me just click through it. If you actually head over to my Twitter, follow my Twitter profile in about 30 minutes. So if you follow me now, in about 30 minutes, I need to just re-upload a PDF because I thought I did it this morning and it turns out it broke. So at Ryan Bonnici, and then I will send you the deck. And then also, if you want 30 days of free buyer intent data that I mentioned, again, just email me, ryan@g2.com, tweet me at Ryan Bonnici, or just chat with me a little bit after this. I'll be around for a few minutes before I need to get a flight out. But we at G2 have 30 days worth of buyer intent data for whatever category you have a software product in. So if you have a CRM product, we'll give you 30 days worth of companies and buyers that are actively researching that category, which is an amazing tool for your sales team, obviously, to proactively reach out to folks. So thanks so much for your time. I really appreciate it. And yeah, say hi when you see me next. Thanks.